So then what kind of challenges did you face once you knew that you wanted to help other guys?
Initially, it was trying to talk about the material that I had learned. At first, it was because it wasn't really ingrained in who I was just yet. I mean, a lot of the material was new, and I had just been using it, and I didn't know exactly how all the information played out exactly.
Right.
Like, I would have learned the technique, I would have used it a few times, and I had success with it, but I wouldn't quite know exactly what was going on behind that. I wouldn't be able to give all the reasons for why it worked. After a while, I had learned the material so well that the opposite became true. That I couldn't talk about the material because I knew some of it so well that I trained myself to understand it on a gut level so that I wouldn't have to think about it. So we'd go into a situation and go, what feels right? And it would just do what felt right. So that when a guy asked me, okay, well, why did you do that? I would have to sit and really think about it and really break down what my thought process was and what my feeling process was in order to be able to actually explain it. So that when a girl said something, and I go, blah, whatever my response is, if a guy comes along and asks me, okay, so why is blah the right thing to say there? Well, being able to articulate those things, it required me to really sit back and really slow the whole thinking process down to even be able to describe it. Now that I've been doing this for a while, I'm able to talk about those things because while I've gone through the process of first learning it, and then learning it to the point where it becomes almost second nature, and now learning about why it's second nature and exact process to get there.
Oh, okay. What was your greatest asset starting off teaching other guys?
Most definitely my experience. The fact that I had gone from a guy who didn't know what he was doing at all to a guy who had learned information and was able to apply it and was able to get success. And my experience just applying the material and experimenting with it.
Ah, okay.
Being able to have some kind of background in the information and knowing, okay, this is what happens when you don't use it quite right. This is what happens when you use it in this type of situation, or when you use it in this other type of situation, or if you change this one little thing that makes the situation slightly different, this is what will tend to happen. Having those types of experiences let me connect with the people that I was helping at a level where they felt like I really understood what was going on. And for the most part, I really hope that I did, just because for the most part I'd gone through a lot of those experiences before.
Oh, okay. And just while we're talking about this, what do you think your greatest asset was starting off with your own personal development?
A willingness to be really honest.
Okay.
I mean, for a long time, I was down on myself and I was hard on myself, and I refused to look at the fact and acknowledge the fact that I was the person who was doing that to me. When I was willing to face it, when I was willing to be that honest with myself, the floodgates opened. And I started being able to just look at myself in all sorts of ways and figure out what types of things that I really wanted in my life, and was able to answer a lot of questions that had potentially painful answers to them. Things like, what do I want to do with the rest of my life? What are things that I value? A lot of times those answers were not what I expected. A lot of times those answers weren't what I was taught by others, and weren't what I was taught by the culture I grew up in, the society that I grew up in. And being able to be that honest with myself let me really take leaps and bounds forward. If I had let myself get caught up in the energy that I had invested in building up those things, thinking that, well, I was taught that this is the way to do it, so I'm going to really commit to it, even though in my heart of hearts, that's not what I wanted. If I'd let myself go down that route, I don't know where I would be right now. The fact that I was willing to be that honest, well, it did a huge part in me being able to develop at all.
Interesting. Okay. Cool. So you've been listening to Frank Talks, Pleasures and Lifestyles, and we'll be right back after this.
Frank Talks is sponsored by the Adult Male Virgin Seminars and Telephone Consultations. If you are an adult and a virgin, you need this seminar. Being an adult male virgin can be most stigmatizing, the very personal pain that haunts you every moment of your life. Alienated from your male friends, for you must hide this shameful secret lest they use it against you. Enough is enough. It is time for male virgins to take charge of their sex lives. The Adult Male Virgin Seminars and Telephone Consultations, only available at franktalks.com. Frank helps adult boys turn into men.
Frank Talks is sponsored in part by Everything Out of Her Mouth is a Test, a man's guide to the emotional needs of women. Ladies, do you want the man in your life to understand you on your level? Do you want your man to be able to listen to and address all of your emotional needs? Show him how much you really want your relationship to be the best it can be. Everything Out of Her Mouth is a Test makes the perfect gift. The book, written by a man, for men, is endorsed by every woman that reads it. This book is a guide for men to understand exactly what a woman means when she speaks. Is that worth changing your life forever? Buy this book at franktalks.com now.
From Loser to Seducer is the story of Frank B. Kermit. This book marks the triumph of a nice guy over most of his inner demons. This includes going from being a loser to managing 5 lovers at the same time, his first Valentine's date with 2 women at the same time, and getting back the one that got away. Want to learn how you can change your life? Buy this book at franktalks.com.